I wonder if it's because I'm on Google Meets, and that's why it's freaking it out. If that's the case, then whatever, you know?
So you have a YouTube channel? So you like post your lessons on and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I want to revamp it. It's more like a dumping grounds for live streams and with lessons that I do occasionally. But
Um,
yeah, some people have emailed me. I mean, they're like, "Hey, I watched your Minecraft." That's not my live stream. I followed your Minecraft tutorial. I'm like, you mean that lesson I did in that really loud class with like horrible audio? They're like, yeah, and I have a question. And so, and some people find it valuable. Probably some of the valuable ones, if you wanted to go on there and like really get something out of it, look up day-night cycle. I have like a 15-minute lesson on how to make a full day-night cycle in your game and stuff. So,
Alright.
but again, it's all me in a classroom talking, walking around, like, so it's not as followable as a dedicated tutorial video, which I'd like to do in the future, for sure. I want to do now, maybe. So, yeah. But yeah, go to Dotware Games. In fact, actually, go to Dotware Games and see if you can find my live stream. Oh my gosh, it's up, finally. 2 are watching. Alright. Okay, it wasn't up before. See if you can find it as well. Cool. Alright, now the live stream's up. I feel better. That means that I can...
Alright. So are we the two people watching, or
You...
or is it
No,
like
no,
the two random people watching?
Two people on YouTube are watching.
Alright. I personally, I want to start streaming on Twitch soon or something like that, you know?
Right. I was using Twitch Streamer last night just to test it out. Tries to make Phasmo...
I think the main issue with me and Twitch, because my dad and my mom, with me being the oldest, I'm the one who has to help them the most. And like when I'm in the middle of my game, they'll call me. I have to go do a chore. I have to help my dad in his garage and do something with them, and it take forever. And I don't want to be doing that with my stream.
Yeah.
I'll be in the middle of streaming, and then bam, gone for like an hour, and come back. The main problem. And I also don't think my PC is like ready to handle that, you know, because I tried streaming on my Xbox with Twitch, and even my Xbox couldn't handle it. It would lag and just freak out, crash my games and everything.
Alrighty. Alright. Were you able to find the live stream? Can you see it on my screen?
Yeah.
Cool. Alright, let's actually get this started on this. We're only 28 minutes into it. Christian, you're a saint for staying on. Alright, so, first thing I'm going to do, I'm making a Phasmophobia game. I'm going to start with the third-person template. Third-person template makes the most sense for this. I'm going to launch Unreal. Third-person template, I'll include starter content, because starter content is useful. I'm going to... Oh, by the way, hey Hayden, will you do me a favor? See if you can just test the audio on that YouTube live stream and make sure that you can actually hear my voice clearly, and then I'll know that this will be useful. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go to games.
What's your YouTube? .org something?
Dotware Games. DOTWARE.
Dotware.
And then games.
Games.
I'm gonna start with third-person template. Leave all this the same. I do want starter content. We're gonna name this Phasmophobia. Create. So the first thing I do when I'm working on a development project.
There's a bunch of Ware Gamings. Which is it like a? How many subscribers does it have?
No, it's Dotware Game.
Dotware Game.
These are the letters. DOTWARE.
Oh, I thought you meant like dot as like the period.
No, I know. So the first thing I do whenever I'm making a game or working on something is I like to take a little text pad and list out the basic objectives, okay? First thing I want to do is I want to do door blueprints that open. I want to do interactable light switches. I also want to do character BP, and the stuff I want to do with the character is 3 equipable item slots. And then I want to add in the item for the flashlight. I want to add in the item for the camera.
Yeah, your audio's coming through on the stream.
No audio?
Oh yeah, I can hear. Yeah, your voice coming through.
Oh, and it sounds clear.
Even your keyboard. Yeah, that's good.
It sounds good. So if you were to go back on this, the people can understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, because you can even hear your keyboard typing, so you're good.
Okay, cool. Thanks for checking. All right, we're golden, guys. So what I'm saying is I'm going to list out, it's really helpful on a text pad, the things I want to get done. I love working from a to-do list. You should too. Otherwise, you're going to focus too much on one particular task. You need that to-do list to kind of jump back and go, okay, here's the overall picture of what I want to get done today. So, character blueprint, I want 3 equipable items, last flashlight, camera. I want to, let's do this, I want to recreate the HUD. There's not much of a HUD. And I will look up reference, HUD and Phasmophobia. I want to remake, I want to make the surveillance camera screen in the van. And then I want to make dynamic objectives board using we'll figure out how to use it. Alright. And then the first thing I'm going to do actually is just a little bit of level design. Not too much. It's easy to get really lost in level design. Level design of van and basic house. Right? So that's what we need the asset pack for. So, like I said, we're starting a third-person template. So let's get us some assets. Assets are great. You have access to the assets on the Epic Games Marketplace. You know, there's a small subsection of people who maybe don't use assets because they have what we call programmer arrogance, and they think that all the art needs to be done themselves. And those are people who never finish video games. So, in fact, I noticed Phasmophobia, the character models. Those are character models I have in my game. I'm like, I've seen that guy as a shirtless Egyptian with eye makeup on. Like, I know what you're doing. Those ones are from Adobe Fuse, they're not from the marketplace. So I'm going to go to, you know what, let's just see what I have. Let's see what I already have in my library. I just need something that looks like a house. I could probably get away with just a basic, you know, props. HQ, residential house, don't need medieval, house plants. Alright, let's take a look at this. Alright, this is it. We'll do this. Add a project. We're going to look for our Phasmophobia project and hit add. Okay, please don't be like 100 gigabytes, especially because I'm streaming on 2 different sources. Alright, it's only 0.9 gigabytes. You might notice these things are going to lag for a minute while this downloads just because of that. In the meantime, we've got things to do. I'm not going to worry about the main menu stuff right now. That can always come later, but I need to make it nighttime. So I'm going to delete everything that's currently making it day. Deleting the sky sphere. I'm deleting the skylight. I'm going to delete the directional light, which is your sun. And then finally I'm going to delete the fog, because the fog is holding on to the old light, and boom, we're now in a dark nighttime. If I hit play, you can see I've got this character. Let's take this character, let's make him first person. Open up his blueprint. Blueprints are coded objects, essentially. We love blueprints. Blueprints is where you do the visual scripting, and I'll be doing a lot of that. Now, you need to make this first person. The easiest way to do that is to drag the camera into the guy's head. Alright, now it's going to be first person. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I just want to be somewhat doable. Let's see how that works. Good enough for me. Alright, good enough for me. Okay, let's look at our to-do list. Door blueprints at open, interactable light switches. Alright, I need to make a way for our character to interact with things in the world, because a lot of Phasmophobia is about clicking on things, enabling things, right? So I'm going to make the basic crosshair kind of system. Before I do that, I want to look up the HUD to Phasmophobia. So to do that, I'm just going to look up a screenshot. Phasmophobia. Maybe I type in HUD afterwards. We're just going to Google Images just to remind me, okay, what does it look like when you're playing? There really isn't much of a HUD, if anything. Remember, HUD is heads-up display. It's like what's up there. All right, let me type in gameplay. Yeah, I guess there is no HUD, except for the tiniest little crosshair. So that's good. It makes my life a lot easier. So, all right, that's good enough for me. Closing that out. I'm going to make a HUD. You make it in the form of a widget. User interface, widget blueprint. We're going to W underscore. I put W for widget. HUD. All right, this is going to be our character HUD. Now, I want just a little bit of a crosshair. In their game, it's a little bit of a circle. I don't really have an icon for a circle right now. Let's see. Well, maybe I do. There might be something in starter content. Let's type in circle. Even if not, let's just take a look at the different textures. What if I type in cross? Can I get a crosshair out of that? No. I could do the little UE4 circle. Yeah, let's do that. I'll make it not look so obvious. So I want this thing to be in the center because that's where crosshairs go. So I'm going to anchor it to the center, and I'm going to make sure it is actually in the center. Doing that, I think. No? A little bit up. Okay. Let's set this to an even size. And first off, it looks really terrible and ugly. That's okay. It doesn't need to be that. It can just be a little bit transparent, and then as long as it kind of indicates the player is near something. I don't know if that's too big or not. We'll see. We'll see. Alright, but anyway, let's add that HUD to the screen. So I'm going to go down here. Begin play is an event that starts our game. Create widget. So begin play fires once at the beginning of the game. I'm going to create the HUD widget, and I'm going to add it to the viewport, which means that now when I hit play, you should be able to see that little center crosshair on your character. Boom, you can see it. Hey, that's not so bad, right? That's good enough for now. I think it's a little bit too big. I gotta be careful with getting too specific about these things. I'm gonna reduce it by 10 pixels, and that's gonna mean I need to move it a little bit. I mean, right now this is just a visual representation of where the crosshair is at. What we're going to do next is actually make it so that there's a line, it's called a line trace, emitting from the character that will allow it to select things. Alright, so we do that now in the form of a line trace. Alright, quick check-in. Can you guys hear me? Hey, Pierce. Pierce is on the YouTube live stream, and so is Chia Obama. Hey guys on the live stream, can you still hear my audio clear? I'm going to check it every once in a while since I need to make sure that, you know, I'm not talking to myself. Although I usually do that on Saturday mornings. Alright, I'm going to make this custom event. I'm going to call it line trace from character. Alright. Now I'm not seeing any affirmatives, guys. Guys either in the Google room or on my... Hey, Miss Crowley. Can you hear me? Or am I muted? Because I'm streaming in 2 places. Just put... Oh, okay, Pierce says yes. So I'm going to trust you, Pierce. Alright, I'm going to do what's called a line trace. Line trace by... There's a couple options that come up. Line trace by channel. Now what a line trace does, it shoots an invisible line straight from wherever you want it to do. Which is really useful, because I want to shoot an invisible line from where the character's camera is out into the world, and then I can figure out what it's hitting. So what I'm going to do... First off, the line trace node, I can put in like actual numbers and say, this is where you need to start, this is where you need to end. And I can get all mathematical with it, and that's fine, but I'm a little bit lazy. So here's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to go to this character here, I'm going to add this thing called a scene component. It's called scene. And what I do is I name it start. Scene component is just like a nothing component. It doesn't look like anything, it's just something that's there. Therefore it can have a location, which is useful because we'll plug that location into the line trace, both for the start, which is this one, start location, and I'm going to want the line trace to start right where the camera is, so I'll just move this over to like where the camera is. And then we're going to duplicate that, and then name this end location, and I'll move this out however far I want the line trace to go. Let's say it can go out that far. In the actual Phasmophobia game, I've noticed the line trace doesn't go out that far, and it's kind of annoying because you'd be looking at something, you're trying to click it, and then you have to move your character. So we're going to go out a little bit farther than that. Now, since I've done that, I don't have to get all mathematical with it. I'm just going to drag start location and ask it for, hey, what's your location? Using get world location. And we're going to plug that into start. We'll do the same thing with end location. Okay, boom, boom. And now this is going to shoot a line, and we can ask information about what that line, what that thing, hit. And this is what we're going to be using to select and pick up objects and things. Let's test this real quick. Normally the line is invisible, but we can make it show itself if we change the draw debug. So I'm going to say for duration, when I hit play, you should be seeing a line leaving the character. Now I hit play. Oh, you know what? It's not working. You know why? I may have made a custom event here, but nothing's actually triggering this custom event. So let's do this. Let's make event tick, which is an event that's always happening, actually call this custom event. Line trace by, line trace from channel is what I named it, right? Line from channel, or from character. Boom. All right, now that's gonna make it so that event's triggered all the time. And now you see this line? Okay, so there's my line trace. So I can ask, hey, did you hit that random question mark? Did you hit that random stare? You see how it's actually hitting things? So that's what we're going to use for our ability to select things. We're going to come back to that. I'm going to move this end location a little bit farther. It wasn't as far as I wanted. So we'll come back to that. And it should, by the way, let's just check to make sure it's kind of emanating from the crosshair. It looks like it is. Okay, we always come back to that. So, working from our to-do list. Let's see, the asset pack is not quite downloaded. Okay, this is going to be a while, but that's okay. This level design stuff can actually honestly happen at the end. We need to get our prototype working. So, let's see. I want to make door blueprints that open. Yeah, I could probably do that. I want light switches. Character blueprint, 3 equipable item slots, flashlight. Just think what order I want to do it in. We did the HUD already. You can actually take that off. The surveillance camera thing, we'll do that later. That's going to be really fun. Make dynamic objectives board. Alright, we're already on the character blueprint, so I think we're going to make the 3 equipable slots. Because in Phasmophobia, the game, you can actually equip 3 items. So let's do that now. So I'm going to make another custom event. For those who just joined the stream or whatever, I'm trying to recreate the game Phasmophobia in 2 hours or less, which is why I'm going fast. So, and any questions you have, put them in, and I'll answer whatever it is you're interested in. So, cool. Oh, Pierce, you're working right now? Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I might stream more. We'll see. Hi. I want to say hi, Penelope, but your name is not Penelope. Your name is Nadia. Alright, so what was I doing? I was going to say the 3 equipment slots. I just got to think about the ways that we could do this. Well, maybe we make a blueprint called equipable item. I think we're going to do that. So we're going to make a blueprint called BP. Equipable item. Yeah, this is a better way of doing it. We're going to give it a static mesh. The first one's going to be the flashlight. Let me just make a flashlight static mesh really quick using starter content. Let me get a little light in here so you can see what I'm doing. Resize it. Let's make it a little longer. Like it's going to be the world's most simple flashlight. Made a copy there. And increase the size on this just slightly. Not slight enough. Change that. 0.1. Boom. Alright, now that can be the front of the flashlight.
Hey, sir. I'm here.
I'll
start.
I recognize that voice. That's D'Angelo.
Don't start without me.
We already started, but that's okay. We started a little late. Oh, I
Can
think
I
my
play?
asset pack is still downloading.
Can I play?
Not yet. All right. We need to give this flashlight a color. Some sort of material. Let me see what I got. Looks too high tech, I think. Could always change it later. We'll do it like that. Alright, there's our flashlight. Okay, how do I save this as a mesh? Control. Alright. Merge actors. SM underscore flashlight underscore 01.
So, Mister, are we just gonna watch you make the game, and are you gonna play it or something?
I'm not playing, I'm making Phasmophobia. I'm remaking
Okay.
it. Yeah, that's the idea. But you can watch, you can ask questions about how I'm doing certain things, I'll explain. Alright, there's our equipable item. And here's the thing, I want to do this in a way where I only want to write the code for how do you equip an item once. However, there's going to be multiple items that could be equipped, right? So the way I'll do that is I'll make one blueprint called equipable item, and everything can actually be equippable are called child blueprints from that inherit the functionality from the parent blueprint, right? So let's set up. There's things about that we want to change, like actually no, that already we'll already be able to change that. Let's.
Sir,
You know what? Hey.
guess what? I just found out you can play Phasmophobia on mobile.
Really? Already?
Yes!
I'm kind of surprised by that.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that too. What?
That's
is it
gonna be
iPhone
my
or
new
just
number one
Android?
game.
That's a little bit shocking. I'm also like, do I want to make the camera mesh right now? I might want. Trying to decide. Yeah, I'll make the camera. I'm gonna make the camera mesh. The thing is, I'm like, oh, I could download one, right? But I kind of only want to limit myself to one asset pack if we're gonna be downloading stuff. So let's make the camera mesh really quick, and then that way we'll kind of have two items. Oh, but then you have the EVP detector. That can be pretty easy to make actually. What would be good for the camera? Maybe this weird shape thing. Yeah. Scaling, their snapping is just too much. So let's still. This is gonna be like the world's worst camera. That's okay. It's gonna be like that camera I bought on Amazon like a week ago. I was like, wow, a 4K camera.
Mister, I'm gonna keep myself up at night playing Phasmophobia.
And you can compare and let us know how accurate I am. Sounds good. Alright, that's my camera, guys. That's good enough for now. I'll probably just download a camera if I need to, but I don't want to spend too much time on the actual props. I want to get to the blueprints. Let's throw material on it. Let's do this. I mean, I could make a material that looks like glass and everything, glass lens, but I'm kind of like, it's just not gonna, it's not good under the time constraint we're on. Yeah, alright, that's my camera. SM underscore camera underscore 01. And honestly, that one's too ginormous, so I need to make a smaller version. That'll be the real version. All right, cool. We've got some item meshes. That's good enough. Let's just call our equipable item right now. Just it's the flashlight, standard flashlight. So let's yeah. So this is our equipable item. Let's make that child blueprint. In fact, I'll even emphasize that this is the parent of all that stuff. Right click, create child blueprint, BP, equipable, flashlight. Now we could leave the mesh as it is, but I'm going to actually add the spotlight component on there so that we can see light emitting from the object. The spotlight's always too dim by default. I just know that for a fact, so I'm going to change it to 20,000. Let's narrow, though, that angle so it's more like Phasmophobia. Alright, let's do the camera now. So I could either do, let me do another child blueprint, BP, equipable, video camera. And I'm going to use my terrible camera mesh, but that's what I'm dealing with on my time constraint. There it is. Oh, did I make it too small? Might be too small, I don't know. And that's the camera mesh, for now at least. Who knows, this asset pack may even have a camera in it for all I know. Oh, it's 76% there. We want to do the EVP detector, so let's do another one. Couple video camera, couple flashlight. Alright, so let's duplicate the flashlight. Is the other way because it's already a child blueprint. BP, EVP. That's that thing that beeps, you know? EVP detector. And let's make the little shape for the EVP detector real quick. Props. Anything. Oh, I should have used that for the camera. But I could use this for the EVP detector. You should stream on Twitch, Pierce says. Sorry guys, I'll try and read the chat a little bit more regularly. You know, I actually was experimenting with Twitch last night, but I don't know if I like Twitch because it only keeps your videos up there like for a short amount of time, right? You guys probably can see what I'm doing now. I'm making the phasmophobic, the little. Oh, if I hit this this little. I didn't learn this until a lot later. Hit this little padlock, you'll scale everything uniformly. So I'm making the little light indicators on the end of the. Let's turn this down to 1. I think it's still too big. Let's change that to 0.2. 0.15. We'll use a material to make these glow as well. Right? Because some ghosts can only be detected by EVP level 5. Alright. That's our basic EVP detector, okay. Watch this part, this will be cool. So I'm going to make the materials for that, so watch this. So I'm going to go to material, M underscore glow material. Materials are like the graphics of the engine. So vector means color. And I'm going to decide what is the color of this glowing material. Now remember with the EVP stuff, it's red if it's like inactive and green if there's activity. And we have this option to make our color emissive, which is really cool. Usually it's not very bright though, so we have to multiply it by some sort of number. So I'm going to go to an S node. I'm going to say this is a constant, or it's called scalar parameter. I just hold the S key and press. I'm going to name this glow amount. So 5 by default. Plug that in. All right, take it a color, multiply that color, set that to the emissive color. It should be good for that. All right, so now I'm going to create material instance from that and say m underscore glow underscore red. Duplicate that. I need this to be brighter. Color red's fine. Let's call it a good 15. And I'm going to, for our EVP detector, set that on there. Give it a second. Let's make the green one. We'll swap those in for activity. Duplicate. Green. Take that red down a little bit.
Hello, I just had a quick question for what video game designing would look like for a freshman.
That's a great question. Okay, so you're new then. All right, cool. So, Ariana, what it would look like for freshmen is, it would look like what you're looking at right now. So I'm using what's called Unreal Engine, which is what Fortnite's made in and stuff. And that's where a bunch of games are made in. Games are made in game engines. And some of the stuff I'm doing right now where I'm making like meshes and stuff, that's what this is called. It's where you kind of can make hack models together. Mine don't look the best right now, right? Because I'm just experimenting, trying to get a whole bunch of features done real fast. But I'll teach you how to do this, how to make the models and stuff. I'll show you how to make models for like a television set and stuff is a classic one. And the key thing that you learn in freshman year, and this is in freshman year, is the coding. And the coding isn't as scary. It's through a system called Blueprints, which is all like visual based. And you'll see that in a minute actually, because I'm about to do that. But yeah, it'll all be here in the engine. And as far as right now, because we're in quarantine, a lot of my teaching is, showcasing how to do something and talking about it. When you're actually on campus, you have the computer right in front of you, and you're in the same program that I'm in right now, doing what I'm doing.
Got it.
And then I also like we do group projects like in the class, but then I encourage you to make your own personal projects. So if you have a game that you really want to make, and you don't know how to make it, well, that's why you're here. Like I can show you kind of where to go and where to get started on that path.
Okay, so is there any I don't want to say preconceived, but like any knowledge that one should know before going into this class, or just is everything going to be taught when we go?
Taught from the beginning. You don't have to have any knowledge when you get to my class. I mean, it helps, sure. It's like, and by the way, all this stuff that you're seeing me do, Unreal Engine, all this, you can download this today. Like, it won't work on a Chromebook, but it'll work on a Windows, work on a Mac, and it's free. So that's how I got started. I was watching YouTube tutorials, and there's all kinds of stuff online, and I taught myself. So you could do that now, and then you come to class next year and be a superstar. But then again, you've also got other classes you're worrying about and whatnot. And so if you show up in 9th grade on day 1, I will start you guys from scratch, like you're total beginners, which is
awesome.
Which is fine, yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you know the difference between the animation major and the video game designing major? Like, do those two ever intertwine, or?
They intertwined a lot when I was doing it because I did some animation, but my animation was really game design with an emphasis on animation, because that's what my background is about. You know, I'm a game designer in real life. So right now it's actually taught by a really good teacher we have named Mr. Inkenbrandt, who has like a business background and all kinds of other stuff. So I would say right now that animation at El Dorado is animation with an emphasis on like the business applications of animations and things. Do they intertwine? Sometimes, actually, because he and I will trade students, and it's very often that we're exploring doing animation from within this very engine, because there's a whole bunch of shows and a whole bunch of actually The Mandalorian and stuff. They're making all their sets and all their animations, all their cinematics from within the same program that we're using to make games. You can look up Mandalorian Unreal Engine. And that's
Mister, what do you play Phasmophobia on?
What do I what?
What do you play it on?
I play it on PC. Same PC. But Ariana, does that answer your question?
Yes, that makes a little bit more sense. So if one wants to get more into just like video game designing, like as a whole, would the video game design major be better, or would animation be more of like a film type of major?
So if you want to learn how to like practically use the software just like this to make things, movies, animation and stuff, I would take the video game major, because I'm teaching this practical, like how you use it. And then you can retrofit, yeah, it's an emphasis on games, but then you can retrofit what you learned over into film and animation and stuff. Like if you go in, like look in the front of this program, right? There's a whole thing called cinematics. Okay, if I click on this and I do add level sequence and I name it, you know, game trailer or short film, this is an entire system for sending cameras throughout. Like you can go here and add, okay, I'm going to add a camera cut track, or I'll just actually add a literal camera. Watch this, it's cool. Create a camera. Now I'm actually piloting a camera, which is why the aspect ratio changed, and we have like things out of focus. Yeah, exactly. Now not only that, watch, I'm going to let's say I'm going to do what's called keyframing, where, and this is used in beyond this program. Keyframing means that you're telling, along a certain period of time, you're telling something to memorize where it's currently at now, at this second, and then later on down the timeline, 5 seconds from now, 10 seconds from now, a minute from now, whatever, you're saying, I want you now to memorize, keyframe, where you are in this different position now. And then what the program will do is it'll blend between these two states. So watch, I'm going to keyframe by clicking that button. I've been keyframed. And, alright, that keyframe is saying, this camera needs to be right here, right now, this very second. Now let's scrub forward a few seconds, and I'm going to, I'm actually piloting the camera, so I'm going to zoom in and sort of turn maybe. I'm trying to do this turn where I like look at this character. I know he's got like a camera for a head, but that's okay. Now I'm going to keyframe again, and now as I scrub through this, look what happens. You see it, you have that shot being changed. So if I were to hit the play button, we just keyframe something. We keyframe the camera movement. Well, not only are you keyframing camera movements, you also can keyframe animations, keyframe, you know, different people moving around, keyframe their bones, keyframe spaceships in the background, like going around and stuff. So as far as like using this for animation, yeah, absolutely. I will say this though. When it comes to like the actual bone animations and stuff that happen on the character, that stuff typically will be done in an outside program. You can do it from within here. Like I can click on this guy, I can open up what's called his skeletal mesh, skeleton, right? And then I can start doing animated stuff by, you know, saying, hey, I need this bone to be, you know, I'm keyframing it here, and then I'm going to rotate it and say, you're keyframed there. The only thing is we don't usually use a program to do it that way because it takes a really long time. Usually what I would do is, if I was going to really make like a film, and this is kind of like blurring the line, are you animating it or are you kind of making a film or something? I would get animations from some team or something, or an asset pack of pre-made idle animations where I can, you know, find, you know, these things, for example. And then I'd bring these in, I would map them to the character model so it doesn't look like this robot guy, right? And then I would be able to position them and blend them in different ways. So as far as like creating the very bone keyframing, yes, you could do it in Unreal, but it's going to take 10 times longer than if you were to do it in an outside program. So I would say that this is more a pure cinematic creation engine than it would be the literal bone animations, even though you can do that. It's kind of like, well, you know, why put yourself through that stress and when you can do that in Maya or Blender is another program a lot of people use.
Got it. Okay, that makes more sense then.
Cool. Good questions.
Does anyone else offer this same program? Any other high school?
Not at all. Not the way we do it.
Cool.
So most high schools, because I visited them, almost all of them, they say that they teach game development, and then you end up doing PowerPoints for 4 years, or they teach you how to make like a 2D, side scroller, and that takes 2.5, 3 years. I'm not really a fan of that because there's a big investment if you come to any school for a magnet program. I mean, you're literally, if you're not zoned for the school, you're going to a school to take 6 or 5 other classes that are regular classes part of that school just so you can be in this one class. So that one class better be worth your time, better be worth the investment. And I noticed just there's a lot of, because let's face it, like video games is a cool thing. Everyone wants to be involved in video games, right? A lot of programs will say, hey, we're this video game program, and then you get there and you get a lot of disillusioned students. I know that because I get emails from these students all the time. So no, a lot of other programs a lot of programs will teach you Unity, for example, which is a great program. It's the other program that games are made in, and it doesn't really matter what program you use. It's kind of like, in a game, are you using longsword, are you using short blades, or like heavy weapons? It's like in an RPG or something. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I've already used Unity a lot, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay. Well, there's no problem if you use Unity a lot. I don't teach Unity though.
Yeah, you teach Unreal, I see.
Exactly. So I would be limited in the capacity that I would be able to help you if you were to continue down using Unity.
All right.
But if you have experience in Unity, like, you could jump in Unreal really quick.
Yeah, I can already see a lot of resemblance here between the two engines.
Resemblance. Unity a couple years ago, I made, I don't know when you jumped on, but I was showing how to make a material, for example. Make a material glow. Unity's system for this didn't used to be like this. It used to be all programmy, like words and stuff. They've completely modified it so that it's this visual workflow in Unity. So if you've done any material work, that carries over. There's no such thing as like prefabs, which is like a Unity term, but for us it's blueprints, right? This isn't called the scene like in Unity. This is called the viewport. But generally speaking,
they're kind of the same thing, just with some different words.
Remember, the tool doesn't make the game. Great games have been made in Unity. Terrible games have been made in Unity. Great games have been made in Unreal. Terrible games have been made in Unreal. What makes the game? The developer, you, right? And what makes you, the developer? The amount of time and interest that you're going to put into learning. And that's a big part. If you're going to do game development at the school, you really do have to work on it kind of outside class. Like you can show up to class if you're interested in this sort of thing and leave having learned a lot and made a video game and have had a great experience. And a lot of people do that, and that's great. But if you're really like, hey, I want to be in this for a career, it shouldn't come as a surprise that it's a very competitive field, right? It's like astronauts, right? Everybody wants to be an astronaut, so it's hard to get in. But you know who gets in? The people who work hard. And people who start young, like in high school. I didn't start this stuff till after high school. Really, right? So you're way ahead of me. But I would, if you wanted to be successful in this program or in any program, show up and learn and soak up as much as you can from the teacher, and then have personal projects, personal games you have to make because you're so interested in seeing them be made and be played by others, right? And if you can do that throughout high school, then you'll be a superstar. Then you'll be hireable by other people. That's the other thing about game development is portfolio has always trumped your degree in it. You know, I met a lot of students who have game design degrees or go to game design programs, and you know, as far as people who are just in hiring this industry, that doesn't mean that much. We really want to see what games you've made. And if you've published a game, then you're really rocking it there. But that can be in any tool that you want. That could be in Unreal, Unity, Godot, I mean, Amazon's Lumberyard, whatever. But yeah, this school teaches Unreal Engine, and we're kind of hipsters to it because now all the schools in the county are like changing over because Fortnite made it really popular, and The Mandalorian using it for all of its film equipment made it popular, and so we've kind of been hipsters because we've been doing this for 3 years. But you know.
So how long is the class going to be? Is it full 4 years?
Yeah, it's a 4-year program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, good question. Good morning, Mr. Torres. We're so blessed to have you here at El Dorado. Great to see the kids. Thank you, Miss Triana. Appreciate that.
Good morning, Mr. Torres. I just want to say, wow, hearing you talk about all this reminds me of how lucky we are to have you here. And so I just want to thank you for the passion and heart that you have for what you do.
Oh, thanks so much. Means a lot, and I'm lucky to have a school that brought me on board. You know? Yeah, that's the other thing, guys, is this school is very cool because, you know, they brought in, they're interested in getting people, you know, from the industry into these sorts of things. So, you know, we have very highly qualified teachers, not just in this department, but in our other departments, business marketing, cyber, some really cool stuff. So, even their music stuff, they got like some really great musicians, and we've got a writer from Rolling Stone doing English. So, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. You know, I was not a big fan of high school.
Are you the one who teaches this class, or is it someone else?
I teach this class. Yep, I teach all video games.
Yeah, cool.
So you would be in. Yep, if you join. Good questions, guys. Keep asking them. All right, and if you don't ask, I'm gonna jump back into remaking Phasmophobia. I've got like 40 minutes. So I think what I was trying to do is I made an EVP detector. Oh boy, I'm gonna run out of time. Let's get to the level design stuff at least, just to take a break from the scripting. This is the visual scripting and the coding, and this was the line trace stuff. Let me make like a basic house real quick, because I feel like that would be fun to look at, and it might form kind of the visual look of things a lot better. So,
what language does Unreal use for its coding?
So it compiles into C++, but
okay.
I'd like you to guess how many lines of C++ I've written in my life.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they're not that. You don't really need them that much.
You don't need the C++.
Visual ones.
Yeah, because I use the visual scripting, because it's the first program of its kind where this has been fully integrated throughout, and I'm kind of convinced that that other programs and other domains are starting to head in this way. Like I mentioned, Unity started making its shader
they've
system
completely
visual.
overhauled their design, yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, they've like completely overhauled it, so it's like a lot more visual.
Totally overhauled. Well, you know why? It's faster. It's not just it's faster, and it allows artists to get into programming things, right? Before, you wanted features, you want stuff in the game that was just the realm of the people who are willing to do the C++ and stuff, and that can turn a lot of people away. Whereas now, you can have artists and people doing programming collaborate, and so you get better games out of it, and you make games faster because you can iterate so much faster. I mean, the speed with which you could add features, doing things this way rather than typing by hand and having spelling errors and syntax errors and stuff, and then compiling, like, it's very, very impressive. And I've seen people merge C++. The developer friends of mine will do both. You can write things in C++ and have them show up in blueprints. So it's it's again, it's a workflow method. The language doesn't matter. How you use it is what matters. So let's do a little bit of decorating. So first off, it's way too dark, so I'm going to add in a little bit of light in here, just so that I can. Oh, you know what? Maybe I can just edit. Yeah, let me bring in a skylight. Is a skylight what I want? Either skylight or directional light. Nah, I want directional light. Directional light is like the sun. Do a level design. Boom. All right. So. Let's see what we got here. Static meshes. Yeah, this is all phasmophobic material. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work with a grid. Grid means that things snap together like Legos. So when I try to move something, it's going to jump a certain number of units, an even number of units. So I want to get some walls. Let me type in the word wall so it comes up. Oh, cool that they got these pre-made kind of things like this. Let's try something else here. Things will look all kind of... Oh, man, you know what they did? They did what I hate it when they do this. When some 3D modelers, they make things transparent from one face to another. There's a way you can fix it using materials. It's a performance thing. But it's so silly because it means I can't show that thing from behind, by default at least. But that's okay. We've got plenty. You know, I've got things in starter content, so let's do that. Window, content browser. Starter content, architecture. Let's just use the stuff from starter content. So I've got these. I've got a door here. This will be like the front entrance of the house. I'm definitely gonna change snapping to 90 degrees because 90% of everything is 90 degrees. And let's say there's gonna be some walls on the outside of the house. And oh, is that wall too tall? Do I need a taller door? I think I need a taller door. Let's do the tall door. So this is the level design is the part that looks like game development, and it is. But the stuff that takes the most time is never the level design. It's the... Alright, I said these were modular, but they ain't looking too modular. I'm gonna rotate... no, it's a square, isn't it? Let's... Okay, so the wall's 400 by 400. This is the wall I need. This is the wall I need. Perfect. No, wait. Yes? Yes, it is. No, it's not. Actually... Double it. Yeah, let's do it that way. So a little secret people don't learn for a while is I hold Alt and then drag something, and that makes a copy. And so it's making a copy in the direction that I'm moving the thing, right? Pretty useful. This looks a little ugly right now, but we're going to add some materials to this in a second, and then it'll look better. Let's see, you've got windows. We've got 400 by 400 windows. I'm going to do what's called grouping, Control G. It's going to turn that into a group, make it a little bit faster. Since these are in pieces, you see that they snap together like Legos? That's called modular design. Modular. It's the key to, all video games are done this way. You never, like if you ever play a game and you're on a level, it's a subway station or something, it's probably a big enough house. It's going to, hey Google, play the music from the game Oblivion. Alright, it's always good when you're level designing to play music from other games. It just helps you design better. So what was I saying? Modular design. So you want to do modular design like this because A, it allows you to change your structure at any time you want. Hey, let's blow out that wall, put a whole new room inside, right? And B, it makes sure that things never overlap. Because if things overlap like this, you get... can't really see it that well right now. You get this thing called Z-fighting, where it flickers. Okay? Because it doesn't know which object to show because they're technically in the exact same location. Or you get little gaps, right? By making sure that you always snap to a grid, you're never going to have to worry about that. Alright, and then for some reason I got this little thing, but that's okay because I think I'll just throw in another window around here, and we'll throw in some pillar or column there in a second to make it all even. Let's go to these walls. Let's get a good material. So materials are like the skin of an object. It's the graphics that wrap around something, right? So like this should be a street, right? Like the typical street with the sidewalk, but right now it doesn't look very good. So let's change that in a second. I want to give these some walls, and there's some wall materials that came with the asset pack. Let's see if these look okay. I'm not sure I like the stripes, but I think it looks alright. Okay, we'll go with this. There's that Z fighting I was talking about. Okay, so let's move that over there. Over here. It's moments like these that it's very helpful to snap to a grid. Boom. Alright. I should have put the material on beforehand instead of having to do this. I can do it like this though. I can hold shift, click a bunch of these, and then we'll just add the material onto all of them at once. Alright, I'll do that over here. Details panel. Boom, now they're all that material. Oh, forgot one. Or two. Okay. Let's do some sort of floor. So I'm gonna use the geometry tool. I'm gonna bring in a box. It came out as the material. I would like a floor material. Let's see if they have one in here. Use, if not, it's okay. Ooh, they got different. They got marble floor. Okay, this is gonna be good. Let's see what our options would be. Got oh, it's got to compile. Let's see, compile for a second. Well, it does that. Do it again. We'll test out the wood floor. Sometimes when you load in a material for the first time, it's got to kind of like take its time. It's almost done, but while it does that, I just wanted to think, what was it doing with code? All right, let's add that flashlight to our character already, because enough is enough, right? All right, so let's typically it's on the character's hand. I'm like, I don't have an animation that supports the hand, like looking like he's holding it, but I certainly can make it so that the okay, I'm gonna have the flashlight float in front of the guy for now. That's okay. So add. Here's the secret. We're gonna add. Oh, don't crash. It's getting slow on me. It's okay if it does. It comes with the territory. All right, we're good. I'm gonna hit save real quick though. Hey Google, skip. So let's add what's called a child actor, which this means you can add blueprints to other blueprints. Again, this is one of those things that people don't know until much later. I'm gonna add this to the camera so that it follows the camera wherever you look, and we're gonna add that blueprint I made before called equipable item. Let's just do the flashlight for now, and the flashlight should now have shown up. It might be in a okay, so it's kind of in a weird location. That's all right. We're going to adjust the location now. I'm snapping too, so I'm gonna turn that snapping down. Hey Google, play music from Fallout 3.
Playing the album Fallout 3, original game soundtrack on YouTube Music.
This flashlight's pretty darn big, so let's change this to like 0.8. Oh, okay, I got some sort of flashlight going on here. I can't really see it, but it's not too shabby, not too bad. I was waiting for these materials to compile. I'm happy with that material. We'll put that in. And you could later on differentiate this. You know, this material will be used in the bathroom versus this other material will be used somewhere else. For now, this will be the kind of base material for the whole house. There's a garage material that I definitely want to make use of. Alright, it's an okay size. I might want to make it stretched out a little bit bigger. Yeah. Alright, here's the key thing with geometry. I can make it grow without stretching the actual material on it. Only geometry can do that. There's some tiling going on where it looks like it's repeating, but in this enclosed space, players never going to notice it, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to add some concrete kind of to here so that it kind of looks like it's sort of like the base of it. Any questions so far, guys, on what I'm doing or any of that? Alright, it's compiling that shader. Alright, let's get into putting walls in here and actually differentiating out different rooms. We'll go back to my grid. Let's see what they gave us in here. Go back to the static meshes. Those would mean the models. Again, they keep doing this transparency thing, which bothers me. I mean, ultimately, I could just add 2 walls. I could just do this. But why should I have to do that, you know? Is that going to Z fight? No. Okay. Alright, then I'm going to group those 2. Treat it like one object. Is it Z fighting? Maybe not. Okay. This is why I like these actual walls that are thick and kind of like work like it. Like I'd rather just duplicate this one. Oops. And say, all right, off to the side here is a bedroom. Yeah, let's do it that way. It would be bad design if every room only had one entrance, or the entrance and the exit were the same. Kind of don't want to do that. It's good to have multiple ways out and in. Not for everything, but for some of them. Alright, we got something going on there. I think I'll put the garage here. Let's just do that little garage thing for a second. So no windows go into the garage. We're gonna make our own floor for it. So I'm gonna do control, drag. Now I gotta copy that one. And this guy, only want that garage material. So let's look up garage. And we got, ooh, they gave us garage door. Perfect. Let's put on that floor of the garage. And that looks way too stretched out, so let me do that. I don't know if they gave us our own. Oh, they have a floor for the garage. We'll use their floor. Form of static mesh. Yeah, that'll be good. Alright, it's a little bit of Z fighting there, but I can come back and correct that later. You don't want to get too stuck on that kind of thing. Now when you're under a time constraint, which all developers are, let's get that garage door going on there. So they actually made a blueprint out of it. That's interesting. I want to see what that looks like. But I'm guessing the blueprint allows you to open and close it. That'd be the deal. A little bit too small, so let's bring it up a little bit. Normally it would be wider, but that's alright for now, at the moment. Okay. Yeah, not too bad. Alright, let's get some props in here. Let's actually get the fun stuff, the lamps, the lights, the stuff. Oh, I was gonna make a on-off switch. Let's make the light switch right now, because I said we were gonna do that, and I haven't done it yet. And that's kind of code-wise, so yeah, let's do that. We're gonna go in here. So at least we'll have one kind of code thing completed before we run out of time. I'm gonna go to actor, we name it BP underscore, let's name it light switch. Okay. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to have a light switch. I'm also going to have a light that is a different blueprint that's the light it's supposed to turn on. So now I'm going to name this BP underscore light. Alright, so we're working on both of these things. I'm going to close out my ABB detector. I don't know if I'm going to get to that. I don't think I'm going to get to the surveillance stuff. I want to, but let's at least get the light switch stuff working now that we kind of have a house. So, close the HUD, leave character open for now. Alright, light switch. It's got to be a light switch mesh, though. I don't have to make it in here, so let's look that up. Light switch. And there is. Beautiful. Okay. Let's add that here. Mesh. Okay. I have this light switch here. And one thing I don't like with this light switch is They included, I think, the switch part, which I wish it was a separate mesh. That way I can turn it on and off by changing its location, but that's okay. There's ways we can do that later. But what I want to have happen is if the player clicks on this, the light goes on. If they click on it again, it goes off. It's actually not that difficult to do. Let's make a custom event on here called press switch. And I'm going to do what's called a branch, which allows us to do one of two things. Based on a condition. That condition will be turn on. Are we turning it on? If we're turning it on, the true code is going to be executed. If we're doing it false, the false code. Now here's the secret. I want this light switch to be associated with a certain light in the world. So this BP light, let's actually make this light. We'll do a spotlight. And let's make it like really bright, 20,000. No, 30,000. And actually, let's make it really wide too, because it's like the light that's like on top of a ceiling kind of thing. Let's do it 1,500. Oh, that's how deep it is. Let's for this. Let's go 60. Yeah. Let's see this one 50. Okay. So, and let's like tint it yellow a little bit because it's kind of like an incandescent light. So let's give this a static mesh too. Static mesh. Because I know there's going to be lights in here. So let's look at the light meshes that we got. Or lamp, at least. Yeah, we got a whole bunch of them. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, I like it. Alright. Let's use that one. And now I want to change that light to being a point light though, because a point light emits in all directions and that's more appropriate for this sort of light. So we have a point light, we're going to set it to be really bright, we're going to make it more yellow-ish. And if I bring that into the world, we should have this light. And actually, let's delete that light that I originally put out there for the purposes of helping me level design. So it's actually like night. Okay, now we have a real light here. I think I made it too bright. Let's see. I'll put it over here against the wall. Just modify where that light is. Position so that the point light is right where the source of the light is supposed to be, at least as close as possible. I think it's too bright, so let's go down to 5,000. Yeah, compile like refreshes it. So now you've got a light. Okay, so let's go a little bit farther from it, just because there's so much light bouncing off of this that I don't like that. All right. So there should be a switch on the wall, and if the player presses it, that light's supposed to go on and off. That's what we're going to create right now. So I'm going to bring that switch out here. Now, I'm going to code this in such a way that I can reuse these switches and reuse these lights without ever having to code the new lights for ever again. And that's not how beginners don't tend to do that. They tend to make this light switch only work with that particular light ever. I want it to be open. I want to be able to reuse these blueprints, which is kind of the goal of blueprints, supposed to be reusable. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a variable that the light switch has that is associated with that particular light. So every light switch knows and is assigned to a particular light in the house. So we do this, add a variable, name it light. Light this switch goes with. And what am I as the variable type? I'm going to set it to the blueprint BP light, the one I made. BP light. I'm going to do what's called making this public by pressing open the eyeball icon on the light. Now that the eyeball icon is open, when I click on my switch, in the details panel, my variable shows up as a setting. Light this switch goes with. And look, if I click the drop down, any lights in the world, like the one over here, will show up. That is how we're going to be able to associate them with each other. That's good, okay? However, I haven't programmed in the ability for this to turn on and off, so let's do that right now. So back on BP Light, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a custom event. Custom event called turn light, change light to on or off. Do the branch thing again, and the condition is, are you turning it on? If not, you must be turning it off, right? So we can switch between two different states. How do I make this thing go on or off? Well, I'm just get rid of the point light. I'll set the visibility of the point light to either be true or false. So if it's supposed to be on, the visibility needs to be true. If it's supposed to be off, the visibility needs to be off, would be the idea. Now one thing I want to make sure is I think that the material here is emitting light a little bit. I don't want it to emit light. Okay. This should be better. Alright, now back on the light switch, I'm going to grab this variable and say, hey, since this is of the type BP light, I can access all of its functions in the custom events, so I'll be able to look up the custom event. This is how you communicate between blueprints. If you turn it on, it's true. If you're turning it off, it's false. Uncheck. Now it's false. Alright. So now how do we actually cause this event to happen? Well, here's how we're going to go back. This is why the third person character goes. So remember we had that line trace thing? Here's what I'm going to do. If the left mouse button is pressed, I'm going to line trace from character, custom event we made earlier. No, actually don't do that. Let's do this. Let's always store whatever we hit into a variable called selected item. So whatever we hit with line trace is the one we've currently selected. Now, if left mouse button is pressed, I want you to figure out, is the selected item a light switch? The light switch BP, the blueprint I made? That's what casting is for. If it is, continue this code. If not, it's just going to fail. I don't care if it fails. But if it is, in fact, a light switch that you hit with the line trace, I want you to call the custom event called, was it turn switch? Switch, press switch. And you're going to press it on or off. Now, how's it going to know whether to be on or off? Press switch. You know what? We're going to do this. The light is always going to know what state it's in. So the light will know. The light will have a variable called is off, is on, question mark. And actually, so we're going to change this code a little bit. We're going to say, hey, if on is, if the light is currently on, and that's true, actually, we'll do it this way. We'll change it to is off. Is off. If it's off right now, turn it on. If off is false, though, is off. Yeah, then is, if it's off is true, turn it on. If off is false, which means it's currently on, turn it off. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay. Normally I'd use something called a flip-flop, but which is going to would make this easier. However, I want lights to maybe potentially be on when the player gets into the house, and so this kind of makes it so that's possible. In fact, we're going to do that. Actually, watch this. I'm going to call that custom event we just made from the construction script, which the construction script's really fun because the construction script actually runs in the editor. So it actually runs in Unreal while we're editing if something changes about it. So watch what happens. If I go over to this light, and if I click on the light and I set is off to false, I can turn on the light using the variable that I made from the details panel. Isn't that cool? Okay, so we're on to something. We know that works. So is off is true. My booleans are all backwards, but whatever. We know that it's working. So let's move on to the next part. So set. All right, it's going to turn off. Now we just need to make sure the light switch is associated with that. You can do it, press switch. If it's true, turn it on. If it's false, do this thing. Now we just need to get... I'm thinking press switch, it only needs to call the event now. I don't need any of this nonsense. I don't think I need this nonsense. We're going to get rid of that. Simpler this way. Now, okay, left mouse was pressed. Hey, was a selected item a light switch? If it was, call the event called press switch. I'm gonna. That's about it. That's it for the code. I'm gonna have one more thing in here called is valid. That's just in case. Actually, do I want to add it there? No, it would go here. Just in case me as a level designer forgot to associate that light switch to the particular light, it'll prevent an error from happening. Boom. Okay, that's just gonna prevent an error. Is valid's a lot for that sort of stuff. Okay, save real quick. We're gonna test this. All right. So I've associated this switch. I haven't associated. Now I'm gonna say, hey, switch, you belong to BP light. Now it knows. So let's go into the house and where am I stuck? Oh, there's like invisible geometry. All right. I should turn off those line traces. All right, hold on. We'll bring them into the house so it's a little bit easier when we start. So when your code isn't working like that, it's a good opportunity to try a print string. Be like, well, did it work? So we're at a print string right here. And that's going to make a little bit like the words hello show up in the left, top left. If it doesn't show up, then I know that something's not happening with my line trace. All right, hello is working. Okay, so now my next theory is that that light switch has no collision on it. I'm willing to bet that that's it. It's one of those weird arcane things that happens. Sometimes you're like, why doesn't it? Maybe it has collision. Let's do this though. Let's add just a little box around this light switch, just to make it that much easier to hit. So even if the player's a little bit off, we'll probably hit it. And again, if you don't know this stuff, like you accumulate these little like tips and tricks, and over time. Collision presets. Block all. Yeah, that should work, I think. Okay. Now I'm going to add another print string over by into the actual custom event, because I don't know at least, all right, is it working from there? Let's try that. Yes, okay, so it is getting there. Now I think it might have to do something to do with the light. So it's actually getting that, it's associated with it. Change light to on or off. Go in here. Oh my gosh. Code's working, but it's always set to off. I'm not actually changing what it is, so here's what I need to do. When change light to on or off, if it's off, do this, but you need to then set this boolean to the other state. I believe this should be the answer. It should work. Because basically the code was running. It was running fine. But the thing is just being in whatever state you started the game with. It's never going to change unless you tell, hey, is off needs to change at some point. So is off is true. Turn it on and set it to on. Is off is false. Turn it off and set it to off. Let's see if that works. Click, 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 click. That's anyway. I need to switch these, maybe. Ah, finally it worked. See guys, that's the process of game development. You don't know how to do something, and that's okay. What you learn is you learn how to be a detective, okay? It's like a Sherlock Holmes kind of skill, see? You just learn methods and skills for how to figure out how to do something. That's what I know how to do. That's what you should learn how to do. It's a lot more valuable to know that than to be some encyclopedia, but well, this is how you do that, and this is how you do this. Resourcefulness is the skill. So yes, we figured it out. Now, here's why I coded the way I wanted to code it. This is why it's actually coded, I think, really well. I can just duplicate this lamp, right? I'm going to put it in this switch in a different room. Put on this wall now. And I'm going to go duplicate the light, move this light into there. Okay. And let's do it again. Let's do one for the garage. And the idea is these things should be able to work with each other. Actually, let me set the variable first. So this one's called BP Light 2. So now I'm going to click on this and say, hey, now your job is to affect BP Light 2. And now, like I said, I'll throw this one out into another room. Let's put this in the garage. And throw another light switch in. Floating a little bit, but that's okay. Alright, I'm saying this is BP Light 3. I don't have to code anything, but my lights will work for a variety of light throughout the level. So yes, this will turn on and only on that light. This one's going to turn on only this light. And this one over here is the garage light. So that's a really cool way of doing coding and stuff in that kind of manner. So now we've got actual interactable lights. I wish we were able to do a lot more interactable stuff over the course of this lesson, but as you saw, there was a lot of really good questions from potential students, and that's important that I answer those. But that's an example of how to do this sort of interactive stuff. Now that we're kind of winding down, we have 7 minutes left to 12. Are there any questions or anything you want me to go over, given what I did? I know I didn't get to the multiplayer stuff. I wanted to. Let's see how I did on my list. But yeah, what questions might you guys have?
Sir? Sir?
Yeah.
Maybe you could do another of these and make the ghost.
Continue off and make the ghost? Yeah.
Yeah.
You could do that. You could do that. You know what, D'Angelo? I had a thought last night because I played a little Phasmophobia. I was thinking, like, what if I did a recreation of Phasmophobia but with a twist where you play the ghost? Trying to get ghost hunters.
Fun. So, cool? Mister, did I jinx you? Did you have to deal with a demon?
No, your jinx didn't affect me. I had only, I think it was a shade or a phantom.
So, you either dealt with a shy ghost or a ghost that just doesn't like to touch the ground.
There was a ghost, it was a little girl. It was really scary. That was the ghost I had to deal with
the children don't have faces.
That's so scary.
Oh, Mr. Tip. If you're dealing with a ghost and it's not a demon, but it's very active and there's no lights on, it's probably a mare. So what you need to do is turn on the lights because mares get weaker in the light.
Interesting. Okay, so they get weaker. Does that apply to flashlights too, or just lights on in the house?
No, just turn on the lights. If it's really active and you know it's not a demon or a oni, then turn on the lights.
Okay.
But then it means it's probably a mare. If it's always dark and it's really active while it's dark.
Very interesting. So yeah, guys, 5 minutes left. If there's any questions, feel free to ask. But other than that, I think we're wrapped up for this.
Have a good day, sir.
You too, D'Angelo.
Goodbye, sir.
All right, Hayden, you have a good one. Later.
You too.
All right, Christian. Any questions for me?